Very good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. Namaskar to everyone. Uh, Last time we discussed this plagiarism and Turnitin, and today again we are discussing the same topic. So there are some new participants today, and there are some participants who attended last time also. So I'll be starting from the beginning, but we will try to finish it as early as possible. Uh, on practical use of Turnitin, we will spend some more time. Uh, I will skip a few of the slides which probably are not that relevant for you right now in the context of understanding of Turnitin. So let me just skip a few of the slides. But this is, there's a list called Beale's list. It used to come earlier where you can find out which are the predatory journals. So predatory journals are basically fake journals or low quality journals. But this list, as I said, has stopped, and then there are other databases from where you can find which are the predatory titles and publishers. One is Cables, the other is this one, and you can see go to this particular URL, and you will get complete list of all the fake journals or low quality journals. Uh, then there is another URL, that is predatoryjournals.com. Here you not only can see what are the predatory or low quality journals, but you can also add any journal or publisher which you think is predatory. And this document is very important. Last time I also said that if you get time, please read this document on predatory publishing. And it is by Committee on Publishing Ethics. So basically, as you all know, that research is extension of teaching, and it brings a lot of visibility to us with regard to research publications. And another very important thing is that if we publish in quality journals, our national and international ranking goes up. And as I said last time also, unfortunately, our international ranking is not up to the mark. Whereas if you see China is far ahead than us. Their public universities have been ranked as 22, 31, etc. Whereas in this list, which you see, we start from 601, that is BHU, University of Delhi, etc., etc. Coming to the topic of today, that is what is right, what is wrong, or say what is ethics. So I'll be speaking on definition of plagiarism for 2-3 minutes, and then we'll talk about the UGC regulation. So as you all know, the plagiarism is the act of using another person's words or ideas without giving credit to that person, to steal and pass off the ideas or words of another as one's own, use another's production without crediting the source, and to commit literary theft. So it is as serious as theft, but this is literary, or you can say academic theft. So plagiarism is basically cheating and academic dishonesty, and this is the most common form of academic misconduct which we see, where a person steals the ideas or say the text of someone else and shows that text as his or her own uh, idea or text. So plagiarism is basically an act of fraud. And as I said, it involves both stealing someone else's work and lying about it afterwards. Words and thoughts can also be plagiarized. So plagiarism takes different forms, so from literal copying to paraphrasing. So literal copying is when you take any text as it is from some other book or article and use in your research article or book. So that is called literal copying. When you paraphrase, that is also plagiarism if you do not cite the source. So citing of the source is very, very important. Then plagiarism can happen accidentally. So this is very serious. If it can happen accidentally, then which means that we'll have to be more careful while we write. So drawing, statistics, music can also be plagiarized. Whether you are taking the text as it is from any source or even paraphrasing the text, you have to give the source, or you have to acknowledge from where you have taken. And these are some of the examples of plagiarism. that is, show someone else's work as your own, copying words or ideas from someone else's work without giving credit, giving incorrect information about the source. So this is also plagiarism if you do not give correct information about the source. And then, buying or stealing, uh, uh, say, assignments, experiments, results, etc. Using ideas of someone else without creating the originator, reusing an existing published paper in a different journal, including translated articles. So what I said last time also, that even if you are publishing your article in a translated form, say for example, today you have published in English and tomorrow you want to publish it in Urdu language, so you will have to disclose to the publisher that this article has already been published in English language, uh, and this is the Urdu version. Now, next, what you see is here in blue color, that is copying, reproducing in part or whole one's own published work without giving proper reference to the work. Which means, say for example, if you have published an article 1 year back and today you want to publish another article and you want to take some data from your previously published paper, then of course you have to give the source. And in this regard, let me just tell you that just on 20th April, there was a circular from UGC about self-plagiarism. So this self-plagiarism, they did not include in the 2018 regulation, but here, with this new notification, they have included the details of self-plagiarism also. So if you get time, please read this also. And this is called recycling also. So recycling means you have published something earlier and now you want to use a major portion of that paper and you want to publish another new paper. So then we have paraphrasing existing text that I already told you. And this is also important, using copying so many words or ideas from another source that it makes up the majority of your research work, with whether you give credit or not. So whether you give credit or not, it will also be plagiarism if you take a large amount of data from some other source and present in your paper. And then lastly, asking someone else to write for you. So most cases of plagiarism can be avoided by citing of relevant sources, which means if we cite, then in most of the cases, there will not be any problem of plagiarism. And there were a lot of cases in the past about plagiarism, but I will not talk on all the cases. You all know the vice chancellors of various universities, directors of IIMs, ISers, IITs. They were also accused of having plagiarized. But this is an interesting case. Why it is an interesting case? Because there was a paper which was published in a Springer journal, and it was withdrawn after 14 years of its publication. So you can imagine that after so many years, a paper uh, was withdrawn because there was some accusation of plagiarism. And as you all know, I don't need to really tell you that plagiarism actually tarnishes our image for a very long time, and it becomes very difficult, to regain that kind of a reputation. So let me just quickly tell you about UGC regulation of 2018. It is called UGC Promotion of Academic Integrity and Prevention of Plagiarism in Higher Education Institutions Regulation 2018. And this was notified in July 2018. And here, there are a lot of definitions given for various things. The objectives are mentioned, penalties are given. So let me just quickly tell you what all these are. So when it says faculty, so faculty means all kinds of faculty, whether it is a regular faculty, ad hoc, guest, temporary, etc. And when it says staff, it means regular staff, temporary, contractual, and even outsource. So this is the definition of the staff of higher education institutions given in the UGC regulation. So which means that it will apply to all these people, whether they are regular or whether they are temporary or contractual or whatever. And these are some of the objectives. And the main objective is to basically, have a mechanism in the university so that people are able to check their papers, thesis, etc., and they are able to accordingly make changes or improve their document. Then this clause is very important of the UGC regulation. called clause 7. And Zia साहब अपना mic off कर सकते हैं क्या?
जी एक
So this UGC regulation clause 7, it says that the research work carried out by the student, faculty, researcher and staff shall be based on original ideas, which shall include abstract, summary, hypothesis, observations, results, conclusions and recommendations. So here it says there shall not be any similarities in these areas, except that common knowledge, or say coincidental terms up to 14 consecutive words. So this is important for us, for all the faculty to understand it and to note it, because when you are evaluating students' thesis, the plagiarism report, if you are evaluating, then you have to be very careful what is excluded and what is not excluded. I will be telling you about this in next few minutes, little more on this. So when we say common knowledge, you see, UGC it says knowledge which is known to most of the people. That is common knowledge. And there are a lot of examples. Like for example, you see, I mean, India is suffering from COVID. There are large number of cases, etc., etc. These are all common knowledge. But when we say that so many tests were conducted in COVID in say Maharashtra or in some other state, we have to mention a source, because if you don't mention the source, then you know, a person who is reading your article, he or she will not know from which source you have got this information. So this is called common knowledge or common information, and this kind of knowledge does not need any kind of citation or reference. There are some other similarity exclusions also. That is all quoted work reproduced with all necessary permissions and or attribution. So anything you see which somebody has quoted in his or her document, you can take it, provided you give acknowledgement or attribution. Then, of course, all the references, bibliography, table of content, preface, and acknowledgements. These are also excluded. Say, for example, you run a report of a thesis of your student, and there there's a possibility that you may see that even references, bibliography are also forming some part of similarity. So this will not be counted in plagiarism, because this is just similarity, it is not plagiarism. Then the other exclusions is all generic terms, laws, standard symbols, and standard equations, which we generally see in sciences and other such subjects like symbols and equations, etc. So they are also excluded. Also generic terms, laws, etc. These are also excluded. And as I just said, all similarities are not plagiarism. So that I think we all have to remember. Sometimes what happens when we run the report in Turnitin and the report goes to faculty or student with, say, for example, 40% similarity, people think that maybe, see, this is the similarity. But actually, this is the plagiarism. But that may not be plagiarism, because some part may be similarity and some may be plagiarism. Now, for example, in this case, which is before you, you see here there is a percentage that is 37%. So 37% it shows is similarity. Now these softwares which check it, they are all called similarity detection tool. They are not called plagiarism detection tool. Why? Because these softwares are not that intelligent that they will just detect plagiarism and not similarity. So they detect both basically. And the mechanism of detection is that, say, if you have written an article and when you run it in Turnitin on, say, or any other software like Urkund, etc. So your content is checked against the content which is available in the repositories of Turnitin or, say, Urkund. And when it checks your content against the others repository, it matches the content and it shows you that this is the similarity. So in the next slide, what I have done, I have enlarged that the same page here. And here if you see, it says this 24, and 24 basically, I will tell you more about this. But then it says the the text which is highlighted has two key elements. And then if you see in number 29, it says categories of information, then organization, then you see here Indian Institute of Management, then you see by the Government of India. So these are all generic terms. You cannot say that these are plagiarism. So you will have to one by one remove all these things when you start evaluating the thesis of your student. Okay, and I took some help from one of my friends in University of Delhi, and there are some certificates. We also give some certificates which are to be attached with the thesis of all the students. But this is a new kind of certificate that I have made yesterday, and I'll just tell you what all it has. So hope I'm clear to everyone. There is no problem as such.
Yes sir, अभी तक तो ठीक है.
So ये देखिए जैसे in this there is a certificate which we may have to fill up in future. It is not yet formal. So it is Supervisor Certificate for Exclusion of Self-Plagiarism. So one certificate, which a supervisor will have to give for his or her student will be about Supervisor's Certificate for Exclusion. And when you are giving for self-plagiarism, so when you are giving such certificates, obviously you are supposed to know what self-plagiarism is. And then there is another certificate that is that's plagiarism verification report that library actually has to give. So on the basis of your recommendation. And then you have a supervisor's exclusion report. So you here undertake that these are the things which should be excluded. This is not plagiarism. So ultimately, if there is any plagiarism found in your students' thesis, so you will be responsible because this certificate will be given by you. So it becomes all the more important for all of us to understand how it actually works, how the software works. So then there is a revised plagiarism verification report that we will give you, that which is the library will give you on the basis of your certifications about exclusions, etc. Okay? So these are some certificates that we may have to make it formal and then distribute to all the faculty. And these are the levels of plagiarism and penalties in case of thesis and dissertations. So up to 10% there is no problem, but if it is between 10 to 40%, then such a student shall be asked to submit a revised script within a stipulated time period not exceeding 6 months. Then there is other provision which is before you for 40 to 60%. And then level 3 is similarities, which is about 60%. So such a student registration for that program shall be cancelled. And in case a degree has already been given to a student, then on the recommendation of the Institutional Academic Integrity Panel, this is a panel which looks into all allegations of plagiarism. So on the recommendations of IIP, head of the institution may put his or her degree in abeyance for a particular period recommended by the IIP. And this particular table is for research publications by, of course, staff and faculty of the university or higher education institution. So with 10%, there's no problem, but if it is between 10 to 40%, then shall be asked to withdraw manuscript. Now, what does this mean actually? A lot of people, think that once they have been asked to withdraw this manuscript, now they cannot submit that paper. No, it is not like that. They can, always improve that paper depending on the plagiarism or similarity report, and again recheck their revised paper in Turnitin or phone. In fact, we are using Turnitin, so we have to check in Turnitin. So after checking it, we can again submit it. Okay, so it does not mean that once the IIP says you have to withdraw paper, that paper needs to be I mean, it is not that it cannot be published. It cannot be published, but of course with changes, improvement, whatever you want to say. Then 40 to 60% such faculty or staff will be asked to withdraw manuscript, shall be denied a right to one annual increment, shall not be allowed to be a supervisor for 2 years. And then if it is above 60%, then most of the things will be this, in addition to the increment, two increment will be stopped, and he or she will not be a supervisor for a period of 3 years. So this is the penalty. And if there is plagiarism of level 3, that is 60% and above, then such staff or faculty can even be asked to leave. So it is as serious as the institution can ask someone to leave also. Then there was some debate in the past that a faculty which has not published a paper, can he or she be punished for that? But in this case, let me tell you what is the definition of script in the UGC regulation, and the definition is includes research paper, thesis, dissertation, chapters in books, full-fledged books, any other similar works submitted for assessment or opinion. Now, say for example, if you have written a paper and you want to say go to United States to present the paper, and you say that this paper has been accepted, and you ask for grant from the university, then university can also, obviously when university is funding this, so university may check whether it's a plagiarized paper or not. So if it is found that it is a plagiarized paper, then university can punish the faculty or staff for plagiarism, though the paper is not published, as I said last time also, but you have submitted it for assessment or opinion leading to the publication. So we have to be very, very careful. So what I always suggest that before sending any paper to the administration or anywhere, even for publication in any journal, you can always check it in the Similarity tool and make improvement and then submit your paper. You must be knowing that big publishers like Elsevier, Taylor and Francis, and other such publishers, what they do, if you send a paper for publication and if they find that there is plagiarism in the paper, so they simply blacklist the author. So they do not give an opportunity to you to either improve the paper or resubmit it, but they simply blacklist you. They don't accept any paper from you in the future. So similarly, this regulation is, I feel that maybe on the same, uh, I would say on the same mechanism, this also regulation that this particular thing has been made. So these are the departmental and institutional academic integrity panel. These are some of the members of DIP. This is DIP. This is AIP. So they are the people actually who look into all the allegations. And IAP has the authority to check or to bypass DIP if it wants, if some complaint comes of plagiarism. Then some people say that how you can punish me because my paper was cleared by the vice chancellor, registrar also cleared it. No, it's not like that, because ultimately you are responsible for what you write. And people sometimes I have seen say that, you see, Cambridge University, Elsevier, Oxford University Press, they have bought my say book, so it cannot have any kind of plagiarism. But it is, I mean, these two are different things which we all have to understand. So as I said last time also, that most cases of plagiarism can be avoided by citing of relevant sources. The citation, references, bibliographies, you all know. But let me just tell you briefly what a citation is. Say this is a citation of a paper where you see this particular document was used, and the full reference is this. Okay. Now similarly, this is the second citation I've used in a paper, and this is the complete reference. So here the difference which you see here, see this is in italics, and then here you have used the website address. Here we also mentioned that this was retrieved on May 8, 2016. So these are there are various actually standards which we have to follow. What I understand in Manu we follow APA. So we have to ensure that our documents are in APA and necessary citations and references are given. Now, just to give you a few examples, you see, if you are taking any text from a book, then citation will be like this, where you write last name and the year of publication, and the complete reference will be like this. Okay. Similarly, for book chapters, the rendering will be different. For journal article, the rendering will be different. What you see here on your screen. Then newspaper article will have a different form of rendering. So the problem comes when you see when we have to remember all those things. So it's very difficult to remember these standards. Why? Because today you are writing in APA, but tomorrow if you send your paper for publication, then the publisher may say that you see we want in MLA or IEEE. So you will have to change it. So you cannot be expert in writing references in all the say standards. You are not supposed to remember also. So I always suggest that people should use technology, because if you use technology, you will not need to actually remember. So this slide is, if you remember, I told you that these are the zero tolerance area as per UGC regulation, abstract, summary, hypothesis, etc. But on the right hand side, you see, I have given some few things which I call them as non-core areas, and you can use technology for this. And I once again tell all our faculties, esteemed faculty members, that they must learn all these things, like how to prepare table of content, what is track change mode, how you can compare documents. Track change mode and compare documents is almost if not same, then similar. Say if you have written a document, if you send it to uh, your, say for example, supervisor, and he or she makes any changes, when that document comes back, so in MS Office Word you can go and compare these two documents, and you can see what changes the other person has made. Similarly, track change is also like that, then footnote and endnote. So you must use that functionality of or the feature of MS Office Word, where you can give footnote or endnote. Similarly, tables should also be linked with the data. Generally, what happens, the heading goes somewhere else and the table goes somewhere else. So it is better that we use MS Office Word. And we should also encourage our students to make uh, online questionnaires by using such facilities like Google Form and any other such thing. And the most important of all, in my opinion, as a librarian, is references and bibliography. So for references and bibliography, we must use a proper tool, I will tell you. So this is the slide where, this is actually track change mode. Whatever you delete, it shows to the other person that you have deleted this. And can you, okay, yeah. And this, I would suggest that in MS Office Word, you can go to references and review. These two are very important things, the references and review. So you please spend some time in understanding what is references, what is review. And if you have any problem, you can always ask me. And this is this is the reference organizer, which you must use. And if you want to know how it is used, then you can go to my YouTube channel, and there is a video which actually tells you how you can use Mendeley. Mendeley basically is a reference organizer. So what it does is that if you have written in APA, then it can convert in IEEE, MLA, in any other style quickly. I mean, just by a click of a button. And moreover, when you want to use any document or in a PDF, you don't have to actually key in all the details like author, title, publisher, etc. It will automatically capture all those things. But unfortunately, this particular facility is not there in WPS. So you'll have to have MS Office Word, or there is one open source LibreOffice that also you can use. So let us understand a little more. I would suggest that you must refer to some of the documents which will give you some understanding of literal copying, substantial copying, paraphrasing, text recycling. What are the unethical practices with regard to authorship, conflict of interest, research fraud, simultaneous submission? All those things you should see. There is one very important document, so if you get time, which is available on the internet, of course, so you can go and see this. Then there's a Wiley document which you can see. Then Inder Science document also can be seen. This is another document of Elsevier, which is Ethics in Research and Publication, can also be referred to. And this is a document which IIP has prepared. I must thank all the members, especially Ali Mashar Jaisi Saab, for his contribution in the preparation of this document. So this document actually is a guideline for you to how to write paper with regard to the submission of thesis. All those things are mentioned, and most importantly, it also mentions how we interpret UGC regulations 2018. So I think this is available on our website. If not, you can ask for a copy. I will mail you. I'll skip this and I'll just go to the practical aspect of Turnitin. So anybody has any question, they can ask me, and then I will shift to the practical use of Turnitin.
Parvez, assalamu alaikum.
Yes, sir.
Sir, precisely do's and don'ts
Yes, sir.
while taking plagiarism for research paper and for thesis. अगर आप एक format दे देते हैं तो for the teachers and for the scholars, what do's and don'ts, it will be easier for us to keep in front of us and do the things. That's what my son.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, this document which I just told you about, this Manu document that you must see, it will give you a lot of information about do's and don'ts. And there may be a possibility that this document may not contain everything what is considered as unethical, but majorly it will have everything. So that is why I showed few references which you can go and see. This will clarify a lot of your doubts. But you can see this Manu document on ethics in publication.
One more submission, sir. आप एक बात बता रहे थे कि unpublished paper पे रहा तो that will be taken as something like cognizant of such unpublished paper. But I have not seen in the EGC regulation somewhere. If you find any plagiarism, that should be put forward to the departmental committee, then IIP will be considered, and that will have to be withdrawn. That's all. But nowhere is mentioned that directly action can be taken. You can go through the entire document of UGC.
Yes.
Punishment can be given for any other scholar or other person taken.
Yes. So, sir, you are saying that the documents can be withdrawn, right?
Yeah, withdrawn. Your IIP can recommend for withdrawn, and unless he make changes according to the norms, he will not be allowed to publish. Right. That is the way. Instead of taking that action, future also. So many instances have happened. That's always better, because unless we are just going on some presumptions, that is not good for the faculty. This is sort of discouragement for people. Everything is given clearly. 0 to 10%, 10 to 50%, 10 to 40% is given. So that itself a guideline for the teacher. If it is found like that in that area, then he should, suppose we are human beings, so we might not have, then immediately whoever comes to the knowledge academic section, your paper has got this much and this much. And one more thing, sir. Suppose I am sending a paper to USA and that has been accepted. Don't they check this before accepting our paper?
No, as I said, the definition of author is very clear. You see, nobody is responsible other than you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Whether they do it or not, there are a lot of predatory conferences. So, how our conferences are organized. I mean, they accept everything, isn't it?
No. So you can't declare in abstract in a very that every kind of predatory most of the.
I think
As an academician, you and we, many of us teachers of university teachers will definitely see that conference whether it is predatory or it is something authentic one, because we have our own apprehensions, because we know that unless we do not have ethics, how can we teach to the students? That's what my submission.
Now let me just say a few things in response to what you said. You said that a paper should be withdrawn rather than any punishment, and this withdrawn. First of all, I am not the authority on speaking of on this punishment, etc. It is the IIP which has to take a call. Now, when somebody says that when you say that the paper should be withdrawn, then that is also UGC regulation that if it is between 10 to 40%, paper will have to be withdrawn. But if it's 40 and above percent, then other kinds of punishments come into picture. Yes. So, I mean, withdrawal of paper is also a guideline given in the UGC regulation. So we are doing it, or the IIP will do it as per the regulation. It is a quantitative analysis actually. It is. It's not that you see there is any subjective issue. It's just a quantitative analysis, and the best thing is that. To get rid of all these problems is before you send your paper anywhere, okay, or I would say whether you send it or not, when you write a paper, it is a very good practice to check it in any of the the similarity tool or software, so that you yourself know what are the things which need to be improved. So there's a possibility that you might have used some text which you thought probably is not a plagiarism. But if you run it in Turnitin, it will tell you that whether it is plagiarism or simply similarity. So you can accordingly make changes. So if required, you may have to do paraphrasing. So all those things you can do before, after writing the paper. So why one should wait for sending the paper to any publisher or
this is a recent phenomenon, sir. This is a recent phenomenon. Turnitin came into picture recently in India. UGC has adopted it recently, and many of us, unfortunately, the section which is in charge, which is responsible for taking into all this area issues, they themselves don't know what is plagiarism, how to check. They should guide us. So, see, nobody is perfect. So it's the duty of the people who are having the knowledge. They should sort of training, orientation must be given. Because it's always good for the university, for the institution, for the individual. When the individual is submitting, it means he's representing the institution. So thereby, sort of orientation is needed. Otherwise, what happens this is going to happen anytime.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think can I move on to Turnitin?
I wanted to add, this is not
yes.
a question.
Yes.
It was also a request, got this opportunity that, I feel personally some problem while using WPS as we were habituated with Word. So is it possible that we go back or we have options of getting installed this, since Kamil Sahib is also there?
No, in fact, I when Aslam Parvez Sahib was here, and I told him that, and Kazim Sahib was here, I told both of them. In fact, I think Kamil Sahib also knows it. So I told everyone that, this is the problem that WPS has. So maybe, we should have some licensed copy of MS Office. MS Office, yes. I think that a different discussion probably. I think if Kamil Sahib want, he can just chip in or.
Yeah.
So any other question? I'll move right. Maybe you can ask the question at the end,
yes.
because there will be a lot of clarity which will come once we finish this. So this is the Turnitin.
Sir,
yes, sir. Yes.
I have already written regarding the number of licenses of MS Office to the higher authorities. We are waiting for the approval for purchase. Then we will give it to each and every.
Okay. वो काफी अच्छा हो जाएगा Kamil.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me just tell you about Turnitin. If you already have the ID, it is fine. If you don't have the ID, you can always write to me. We will get an ID for you. We have sufficient number of IDs. But we have to make sure that we check our own paper or our student paper. So to the extent possible, we should not entertain any outside research papers. So all such requests can be forwarded to me. I can help them. Uh, uh, so once you get the ID, so this is the administrator thing which you see here. So this I'm the administrator, so you don't need to bother about this. So what we just do in administrator module is that we create IDs and then you create password uh, and nothing more. And see, when you log in, you will get this particular button, that is instructor. Okay. So when we say instructor, so here there are a lot of classes and assignments that these are classes. These are called classes. So whether you want the student to upload his paper directly in this Turnitin, or if you want to upload your own paper, you will have to create one class first. Okay, so let me just tell you one example. So if I click here, so this will be standard, and say if the class name is say Mustafa, अपना वो बंद कर लो जरा audio. So MA history and enrollment number is say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this enrollment key is basically the password which the student will use. And here you can give subject. I'm just giving any subject, so I'm not looking for this. Here, you can give whether it's a postgraduate student or undergraduate, whatever you want. And then here the start date and here the end date. I mean, when you are starting the class and when you are ending the class. And you say submit here. So when you say submit here, it gives you a class ID and enrollment key. So these are the two things which you have to forward to your student, so that he or she can upload his or her paper directly into your class. So every teacher is an instructor, and instructor can give any number of IDs to students. Okay. So now say this is created. Okay, now MA history. Okay, this one we created. So we go here and then we say add assignment. Okay, now we have created a class. Now we have to add assignment. So when we say add assignment, it's taking some time. Okay, yeah, this page will come, and here the assignment title. Say I can say semester say 1, and then okay, and this is the point value. Now what is point value? You can give here 10, you can give here 100. This is basically the scoring which you can use in for a student if they directly upload. And here the class start date of the class, here the due date, and here is the post date. Now what is post date? Post date basically is a date when the student knows that after this date he or she can see if you have done the scoring, or if you have made any suggestions to the student with regard to his thesis or paper, whatever. And these are the allow only file types that Turnitin can check for similarity. So I always recommend that you use only Word or PDF or Excel, etc. here. And this is don't use this one, because there are some files which I mean Turnitin has problem to understand. And after this, what generally people do, they simply submit. So you have to remember one thing: you don't have to submit. You have to see these optional settings. So what are those optional settings? So you can say here, write this. Okay. API style should be the referencing should be in API style. Abstract says should not be more than 100 words, and the complete article should not be, say, more than 500. So all these things, whatever you want to mention to the students, you can do. So allow submissions after due date. So it is up to you whether you want to allow submissions after due date or not. And then it is similarity report. Generate similarity reports. Of course, I think it is good to generate similarity reports always. Then it says similarity reports, generate similarity reports for a student submission. So there are few things. Immediately, first report is final or on due date. So this, what happens if you use this one? Then once a student uh, uploads his or her document in this, he or she can see the similarity report if you allow him, and then accordingly he can make changes and he can upload once again. So 3 times, he can upload, but after 3 times there will be a gap of 24 hours. So only after 24 hours the student will be able to upload the revised document. Or you can choose this one on due date. So once the class is getting over the assignment, then you can generate this report. So it is completely up to you. So exclude bibliography, of course, yes, you want to exclude bibliography. Exclude quoted marks from similarity. So what is quoted marks? Whatever you give in double quotes, that will be excluded from similarity. And then exclude small sources. Of course, you want, and here you can give the, as if you remember.
So what is this small exclude small sources?
When you say yes, only then this will come. Na? If you say no, then it will not come. Okay. So what is small sources is, as per UGC, it is 14 words. Okay. There cannot be anything which is more than 14 words. Now, as I said last time also, that definition of 14 words or the not definition, basically the treatment of 14 words given in the UGC regulation and the treatment in Turnitin are different. UGC says that there should be 14 consecutive words.
Coincidental words, na?
I mean, but the maximum limit is 14.
Hmm,
So it cannot go beyond 14. But it talks of consecutive words.
hmm.
When Turnitin does the evaluation, or when it detects similarity, it does not consider this consecutive thing. These 14 words can be spread over across your article. Okay, so this is the difference between the UGC understanding of 14 words and the Turnitin understanding of 14 words.
तो ये तो demerit हो गया ना इसका वो तो कहीं से भी पकड़ लेगा.
No, that's all right. That's all right. But what you can do while evaluating, you can exclude all these things.
Okay.
So all students to see similarity reports. So it is up to you, whatever you want to give. Then enable translated matching. Say, for example, if someone has copied a paper written in Arabic and changed it to English and submit it here. So if you enable this, then what will happen? That will also get caught. So there are 14, 15 languages which Turnitin supports: Chinese, I think I don't remember whether Persian is there or not. So if anybody copies from those languages, so Turnitin can detect that too. Here, it says whether you want to put it in a repository or not. So if you choose the standard repository, the paper will get stored in the repository of Turnitin. So when I say it, I mean that, say, for example, your student has put it, and next time if he checks the same paper, then similarity may be high, because that paper will be checked against his or her own paper. And if you say no repository, so once if he or she uploads the paper, second time if he or she enters, then there will not be any similarity. I mean, there will not be any duplication with regard to the previous one and this one. So it is always better, see, when you upload your paper, then unless until you upload your final paper, always choose no repository. But for draft paper, you can always no, for once your paper is final, you can put in standard repository. But as long as it is not final, you should always use no repository. Okay. So if I say no repository, And these are the search option. I mean, if you want, you can uncheck this, so it will not check against these databases of Turnitin. And then if you want to do online grading, these are there are rubrics, that is the scoring guideline. If you want, you can always. I'll just show you how it works. But this is for online grading, etc. I don't know whether it will be really of any use for you right now or not. So you can create one, you can make a duplicate rubrics, and here you can define a scale, and this is these are the 100%. So 20% for idea you want to give concept, 20% for details, or say the complete write-up you want to give 30%. For conclusion you want to give 30%, and this is the scale. So it is up to you. If you want, we can give. So I'll just close it because I don't know how useful it will be unless and until you ask students to directly upload and you evaluate online. Okay, so then you can submit this. So once you submit it, and once you view it, so there is no paper. Okay, so now your student can submit from here, right? There is another important thing which I wanted to tell you about. Let me just see if it is there in the student section. Yes. So say for example you want to upload all the names and email IDs of your student who can access this particular class. So you can simply go to upload student list, and you should have Excel sheet. You can do otherwise. Individual students can also be added. So for example, if it is just one research scholar, so you can go to add a student and add his name, email, ID, etc. So what will happen? He will get an intimation and user ID, password for uploading. Now, say for example, if it is not a student case, if you want to upload your own paper, so you again go to assignments, and if you go to assignment, uh, go to more actions, and you can submit. So how do you submit? Let me show you. You go to this submit, and here you write, say for example, if it is first name is Akhtar Parvez, and submission title is test paper, and then say choose a file from your computer. You can choose file from your drive also, Dropbox also. So if I want to choose from my computer, so I'll use this option, and I'll go to say this downloads, and let me just, so any paper, I can say for example I just want to do this paper. So it can be either PDF or doc file. So I say open, and after open I say upload here. Okay, so once I say upload, I'll have to confirm it, and once I confirm it, it will start evaluating the report with regard to the similarity. It's taking some time. Please wait for us a minute. Usually it takes about 5 minutes or 10 minutes to uh, evaluate a paper. So you have pressed confirm, and you can now go to assignment inbox, or you can submit another paper. So if I go to another assignment inbox, so this is the, and here it will show you similarity, okay, after some time. So let us leave it. Once this is ready, I'll show you. I'll go to some other reports for the purpose of evaluation. Okay, so this was a class which I had created, And in this class, I'll see what are the papers. And if I click view here, I will see all the papers. So here, I get percentage, etc. So I'll just sort it by date to see my paper, which I had yesterday. So this is one paper which I had uploaded. So this is the similarity. It is showing 37%. And here you see I can do online grading, and from here I can download the original file which I had uploaded in this, and this is the paper ID and this is the date. So by mistake, if your uh, paper is added to the repository and if you want to get it removed, so you'll have to write to me or say the administrator with this paper ID that you want to remove. So let me just now go to this paper to see the similarity. So in this, I see all the similarities. If I press 27%, so 37% button here, so I get complete breakup of all the sources from where I have taken the text or data or information, whatever you want to say. Now here, you see 24. So 24 is basically, it says has two key elements, these 3-4 words. So this is not plagiarism. This is just similarity I showed you in one of the slides also. Similarly, here also you see something, okay, and here so here also you see, but this is a law. So this is also not plagiarism. It says the disclosure of any information. This is actually RTI law definition which is given. So this is also not plagiarism. This is similarity. So here also you see we have explained the meaning of Right to Information Act along with the this. It is in the footnotes. I could have done it in double quotes so that it had not shown it like this here. So whatever I put in double quotes, it will not show in highlighted way. So most of the things here, which I see are actually not plagiarism, though they are similarity. This is also not plagiarism. This is just similarity. And this is the list of things in the RTI Act which every university or centrally funded institution is supposed to disclose on their website. So this I had no option but to take it as it is. So this is also not plagiarism. What is plagiarism? I will show you. I'll just go further down. Okay. Now, for example, if this was my abstract, okay, and this abstract, if everything it is showing in this highlighted text. So if I want to see from where it has been taken, I can just click here, and if I click here, if I press this, so on the right hand side, I will see the complete detail from where I have taken it. So this is basically plagiarism. Similarly, in the introduction part, I have taken everything as it is, though I have given the uh, sources. You see 3 here, okay, and here also, I have given this. Here also, I have given this. But what I have done, I have taken as it is. There is no, there are nothing from my side in between the text. So this could be called as plagiarism. Now the question is, how do we evaluate or say how do we remove it? So this is 24, right? So this is, I'll go here. I'll see what is 24. Okay, so this is 24. So if I click here, then here I can see, and here it shows match 1 of 3. So the source is 1 or maybe many, and it is showing this is just one instance of total 3. So if I click here, I get second thing, okay, so this one. Then I and this is the third match. If I press here, then on the right hand side I get this highlighted. So what I have taken is, I have taken these 3-4 words, has two key elements. One is, so these are basically generic terms, right? So these generic terms will not be plagiarism. So what I will do now, I'll once again go on the top. I'll just close it for a moment, and I'll go to 24. And here, you see exclude button. Okay, so if you see exclude here, then you can select these things. And these are the sources from where I've taken, and I will say exclude. So what will happen? These will get excluded. Now what you see here, that there is nothing, okay, which earlier was showing 24. Now if you want to see, say, 25, so you go to 25 here and say you want to exclude everything. So assuming that none of these things come under plagiarism, so you can simply exclude all those things. So I'll say exclude. So this is how, I can exclude. Here the number is not going down because maybe I have not excluded or removed anything substantial. Otherwise, what happens that when you start excluding, the numbers, the percentage starts coming down. Let me just try with this. If I say exclude, because again I say, because the same thing, the same text has been was available at various places, so that is why it is not showing you the reduced percentage. So I mean, once you work on it, you will realize that it is going down, this percentage. So this is how we actually do the exclusions one by one. But the problem is, we have to do exclusion one by one. Now, if you want to say this is called filters. So if you go to filters, here you can make changes, whatever changes. So if you want to exclude code, it is already excluded. But if you do not want, you can uncheck this. Similarly, here also you can uncheck it. Okay, and here also you can change. So instead of 15 words, if you want, you can put 1%, or if you want no exclusion, so you can say no, don't exclude anything. Okay, so I'm not touching it. It is, I'm hitting 14. Okay, so this is from here you can apply changes and download new report. Now, how do you download new report? So this is another button where here you get digital receipt, here you get originally submitted file, and here you get the report, similarity report. Okay. So your similarity report will be downloaded, which you can see later. And at the end of the report, everything will be mentioned. What were the exclusions, like 14 words, etc. All those things will be mentioned there. Now, this will show you the details of your submission. Okay. And here is the as I was saying, this is the online evaluation. So assuming that this was a thesis, so what I will do, I will just go to, say, for example, format, and I want to tell the students that there is sorry. So I can always say develop idea. There is a weak transition, and whatever I have left, see, I can simply drag it. And so here at the bottom, there is a definition of everything. It's not coming here. Okay, so the definition is not there. You can create your own definition.
These are the tags you can do for the students, for the help of the students.
So that student understands what what the supervisor has done. And usually what happens, the researchers comes to you 100 times and you tell him 200
Hmm.
and when he comes back, see, maybe only 50 changes he incorporates. But here, if you do it, the good thing is that he will not miss out on anything. Now, similarly, if you press here, just click anywhere, so you will get, if you want to make any comment, you can make comment that say, please see this website, and here I can. Where is that? Yeah, here I can give that website, say www.manu.edu.in. So all these things, I can do. And then comes the grading. So from here I can do the grading. But grading I can do provided rubrics. I have defined rubrics while defining the class and assignment. So from here, you can do grading, whatever you want. And okay, so this is how you do grading of the student. So I think I have almost finished this. If you have any question, please ask me. Hello.
So if the student is already having the Turnitin with him, then you are making certain changes here and you are giving it back to the student. है ना? If he already had it, he would have done it. है ना? There's no need for. Yeah.
See, once you create a class and assignment, then obviously your student has the option of uploading that document, and whatever he uploads, you can see, evaluate. Whatever you do, or she will be able to see. But it is up to you to show him the similarity report or not.
Within that window, he is able to see, or where is he able to see then?
No, remember I told you that you'll have to add every student. Or
Yeah. Enroll him, yeah.
Once you enroll a student, the students will get an email saying that this is the class your supervisor has made. So you have to, yes.
Okay, he upload his
Yes.
manuscript. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir. How does it evaluate graphs and data tables?
Sir, आपकी आवाज ब्रेक हो गई बीच में.
How does it evaluate graphs, pictures and data tables?
How does he?
वो कह रहे हैं सर ग्राफ्स और टेबल्स को कैसे इवैल्यूएट करेंगे?
हाँ, तो देखिए पहली चीज तो ये है कि अभी फिलहाल टर्निटिन में एक तो इमेज को वो डिटेक्ट नहीं कर पाता, ठीक है. तो आपको थोड़ा सा ये देखना पड़ेगा कि इमेज में वो सोर्स जरूर लिखे अगर कहीं और से ले रहा है. नंबर 1. जहाँ तक डेटा है, तो वो अगर डेटा यूनिक डेटा है तो ऑब्वियसली उसको वो सिमिलरिटी में नहीं लाएगा. बट इफ देयर इज एनीथिंग, इफ द स्टूडेंट हैज टेकन फ्रॉम समवेयर एल्स, देन इट विल डिटेक्ट.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, next question. I can't hear you.
Bakhtiar speaking, sir. Bakhtiar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Boli.
Yes, sir. Can I ask?
Sir, your probably your internet.
We are manual all excluding criteria.
Sir,
so there is huge chance and this. Yes, sir. सर मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि मैं देख रहा हूँ और इंक्लूडिंग एरियाज हम मेनू सेट कर रहे हैं. तो
सर आपका इंटरनेट का थोड़ा सा इशू है.
सुन पा रहे हैं सर?
हाँ, अब ठीक है.
बहुत पुअर है सर, बहुत पुअर है. थोड़ा दिक्कत हो रही है, मैं दरभंगा में हूँ सर. तो मैं इंक्लूडिंग क्राइटेरिया हमारी बहुत
सर आप ऐसा काम कीजिएगा, मुझसे आप बाद में पूछ लीजिएगा क्योंकि आपकी आवाज नहीं थी, या थोड़ी देर बाद ट्राई कर लीजिएगा.
आप लिख के भेज दीजिए सर, चैट के जरिए लिख के भेज दीजिए.
चैट में लिख दीजिए. Yes, any other question, please?
Hello, sir.
Sir, if the students are submitting, because most of the students are submitting their assignments in Urdu language, then how will it be helpful for us?
Yeah, I mean that's an issue that is an issue that it has. But
Yeah, that's the main problem. Exactly. Most of the time they have to write in Urdu itself.
But I think most of our faculty member would be using it for thesis rather than assignments. And thesis now they are supposed to write in English also.
Okay, into bilingual they have to do. Okay.
So in that
Mm-hmm.
way, it will be helpful.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
I have query about this UGC regulation part. Like, hello, sir.
Yes, sir. I can hear.
Yeah. So how they see or handle the similarity of already published paper. So suppose my paper is published, and if I check in the Turnitin, it shows the 90% similarities because already this paper is submitted in repository. So how it will check if this parameter 10 to 40%, 40 to 60%, and more than 60%.
Sir, can you please come again? I had some disturbance here. Can you please come again?
Okay, sir. Okay, sure. So my doubt is like how they see the similarity of already published paper. Like when we check in the Turnitin already published paper, so they will show the high similarity because already this is from the own paper. Like that paper is already submitted in repository. So how they will see that?
No,
parameter?
in such cases, what you can do, you can remove the similarity while evaluating it. Number one, or the best thing would be you get that paper removed from the repository.
What, sir?
The best thing would be, see, if it is obviously it is your own paper. So what you can do, you can get that paper removed from the repository, so that it does not check against the same paper.
No, I'm asking already published paper, sir.
No, you are saying you have published one paper and you have written another paper now.
No.
Same
My
paper,
question
the same
is,
paper he's
sir,
talking about.
Excuse me, ma'am. So my question is that I published one paper. Now the UGC regulation is that your paper similarity should not be between the more than 10%. Now I'm again checking that paper. That similarity is coming more than 10% because that paper is already published and that publisher is submitted in the repository. How we will check on that?
So
that is my question.
Are you saying the previously published paper?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So why you are bothered about previously published paper? So you I think I understand.
No, I want to clear, sir. Just like
this you will know only when you actually see the similarity report. Okay, so you will be able to evaluate or make an informed decision only if you are able to see your similarity report. So once you have your similarity report, probably you will be able to know whether you have copied or someone else has copied from your document.
Okay, it means software cannot determine that what is the similarity. The committee only can decide.
No. Similarity, see, software will give you complete similarity. Now, what the author or say the supervisor, it will depend. He or she will have to apply UGC regulation in that. So, for example, he will have to make a decision. What is generic term? Okay, what is wherever equations have been used. Whether you see it is less than 14 words consecutive or more than 14 words. So all those things, UGC regulation he will have to take into account and then evaluate. So there are two very important things which every faculty will have to understand, that you see neither Turnitin can work in isolation nor this UGC regulation. So these both the things have to be seen together. I mean, you have to have complete complete clarity of the and then of course how you evaluate in Turnitin. Yes, madam.
Sir, actually the recording which you have done, can you send us that, because I'm unable to get all the options which we have to select for checking a plagiarism. Can we get the recordings of your PPTs?
Yeah, madam. I think we are recording. We are recording. Yes, we will send.
Yeah, this recording, can we have it, sir?
I will send everyone.
Because okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Sir, can I ask my question, sir? I was disconnected that time.
बख्तियार साहब अभी भी आपका प्रॉब्लम है आपका?
जी सर बेसिकली इंक्लूजन क्राइटेरिया हैं वो सेट किए जैसा कि, तो वैसे में इवैल्यूएटर्स तो अपने हिसाब से सर, और इन
आपकी आवाज बिल्कुल नहीं आ रही है।
जी सर, जी सर, मैं चैट में लिख,
आप मुझसे बाद में पूछ लीजिएगा फोन करके, क्योंकि आपकी आवाज बिल्कुल नहीं आ रही है। कोई और साहब चाहे तो पूछ लें।
ओके सर, ओके सर, आई विल
एक्सक्यूज मी सर, एक क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहूंगी मैं। आपने कहा था कि सुपरवाइजर को भी एक सर्टिफिकेट देना है जब थीसिस सबमिट की जाती है बच्चों की, तो यहाँ पे सुपरवाइजर को क्या देखना होता है सर?
सुपरवाइजर को मैडम ये देखना पड़ेगा कि जैसे अगर हमने आपको थीसिस आपको टर्निटिन में रन करके दी,
हाँ,
मान लीजिए उसके अंदर 50% आ गया है ना
जी,
तो फिर आपके पास आई, फिर आपको ये देखना पड़ेगा कि जो 50% है वो क्या वाकई प्लेजरिज्म है या वो सिर्फ सिमिलरिटी थी। मान लीजिए लिटरेचर रिव्यू है जैसे, है ना
जी,
या मान लीजिए ये इसमें कुछ टेबल ऑफ कंटेंट का पोर्शन आ गया, या उसमें मौलाना आज़ाद नेशनल उर्दू यूनिवर्सिटी जो है वो 50 जगह लिखा हुआ है, तो वो सब आपको मैनुअली उसमें से एक्सक्लूड करना पड़ेगा। तो वो आप जब मैनुअली एक्सक्लूड करेंगे तो आपके पास एक नई रिपोर्ट बनेगी। मान लीजिए हो सकता है 50% के बाद सिर्फ आपके पास वो 10% रह जाए या 9% रह जाए, तो आप वो रिपोर्ट हमें भेजेंगी और साथ में उसमें लिख के भेजेंगे आपने जो जो एक्सक्लूड किया है, यानी जो नंबर जो हमने लिखे ना, अभी आपको मैं दिखा रहा था कि 24, तो उसमें ये कर सकते हैं कि आप नंबर्स लिख के दे सकते हैं कि ये नंबर इसमें हमने एक्सक्लूड कर दिए, कि दिस इज नॉट प्लेजरिज्म, दिस वाज जस्ट सिमिलरिटी। So that kind of certification you will have to give us.
जी, जी सर, जी, थैंक यू सर।
वेलकम।
सर, आपने बताया एनरोलमेंट कीज हमें देना पड़ती हैं स्टूडेंट्स को, तो क्या ये एनरोलमेंट कीज अगर हम एक क्लास को दे रहे हैं तो अलग अलग स्टूडेंट्स को अलग अलग देना पड़ेंगे या एक ही कीज है?
देखिए ऐसा होगा कि उसमें उसके पास ईमेल आईडी पहुंच जाएगा, ठीक है
जी, और
उसके पास उसका पासवर्ड रहेगा, तो वो टर्निटिन में जब जाएगा तो वो एक्चुअली टर्निटिन उसको अपने ईमेल आईडी से पहचान लेगी।
अच्छा,
हाँ, उसको आपको एक ही बार देना है।
ओके सर। पूरे असाइनमेंट के लिए भी अगर असाइनमेंट एक से ज्यादा भी होते हैं तो उसके पास की वही रहेगी?
नहीं, आपको असाइनमेंट अगर दूसरा बनाना है तो तो आपको दूसरा पासवर्ड लग जाएगा।
अच्छा, ओके सर,
मेरे ख्याल से, मैं इसके बारे में मुझे ठीक से एक बार चेक करना पड़ेगा, लेकिन मेरे ख्याल से आपको दूसरा शायद देना पड़ेगा।
जी, और सर एक सवाल और है मेरा छोटा सा। आपने कहा कि जब तक ड्राफ्ट हम चेक करते हैं उसको रिपोजिटरी में नहीं रखते, स्ट्राइक ऑफ कर देते, लेकिन जब फाइनल ड्राफ्ट हम रख रहे हैं तो उसको हमें रिपोजिटरी में डालना है, तो ये रिपोजिटरी में कब तक हम उसको रखेंगे और कब हम उसको वहां से रिमूव करेंगे?
मैडम मेरा वैसे उस पर सजेशन ये है कि आप जब तक उसको रिपोजिटरी में मत डालिए जब तक वो पब्लिश ना हो जाए।
अच्छा, ओके।
एक बार पब्लिश हो जाए उसके बाद डाल दीजिए, क्योंकि आप मान लीजिए पब्लिशर को भेजती हैं तो पब्लिशर चेक करेगा तो उसमें फिर बहुत सारा सिमिलरिटी
जी जी सर,
ये है कि पब्लिश होने के बाद ही उसको आप डालिए।
अच्छा, ठीक सर, थैंक यू सर।
यस यस, एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
Thank you so much for your time, and the explanation was really good, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I think we can now end the meeting if there are no questions.
बहुत शुक्रिया, और बहुत ही मालूमाती और फ्रूटफुल जो है ये सेशन था।
शुक्रिया सर, शुक्रिया जी। ये तो इसलिए मैंने आप लोगों का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा किया। देखिए उसके अंदर जो हमने बनाया है सबने मिलकर, उसके लिए भी शुक्रिया।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू,
इंफॉर्मेटिव लेक्चर।
ऑडियो का डिस्टर्बेंस बहुत कम रहा
जी,
ऑडियो डिस्टर्बेंस कम रहा क्योंकि सभी के माइक ऑफ हो गए थे, तो दैट वाज वेरी ब्यूटीफुल।
यस यस,
सही रहा,
वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव।
लोग भी कम थे आज।
आप लोग
कल
जो हम ऑथर्स वर्कशॉप कर रहे हैं उसमें आप सब लोग आइए।
ओके, ओके सर, Will you
उसका
send us
लिंक
the
और
mail
आईडी भेज
meeting?
दीजिए
Yeah.
प्लीज।
आज भेज दूंगा।
Okay, thank you so much.
उसमें कोई 100 का लिमिट नहीं रहेगा, any number of people can come.
Okay.
And I have seen that almost 150 people have registered so far, including a such.
Okay.
Okay, okay, ठीक है।
Thank you.
Thank you.